She charged up my driveway like she owned every inch of it, slamming a paper against my front door so hard it rattled the frame. "Your wife owes $300 to the HOA," she snapped, her voice loud enough that curtains twitched all along the street. My wife stepped outside, jaw tight, forcing herself to stay calm. "We're not paying some made-up fine," she said evenly. "Show me where it says this in the contract." Karen's face flushed crimson. "Don't talk back to me. I'll call the police right now and have you removed." Before I could respond, she was already screaming into her phone. "We've got trespassers refusing to follow HOA rules. Send officers immediately." It didn't take long. A patrol car rolled up with lights flashing, crunching gravel as it stopped. My wife stood firm, shoulders squared, while Karen pointed at her like she'd just caught a thief. "Arrest her!" Karen shrieked. The officer stepped out, hand hovering near his belt as he surveyed the scene. Then his eyes landed on me. The color drained from his face. He froze mid-step, swallowed hard, and blurted out, "Commander." Karen blinked, confused. "What are you doing?" she snapped. "Arrest them." But the officer didn't move. His hand dropped away from his belt, his posture shifting instantly. "Sir, I didn't realize this was your residence." Karen's smug expression cracked. My wife crossed her arms, calm and steady. "So," she asked quietly, "still think that fine is real?" The officer's silence answered for him. Karen's confusion twisted into anger. "What is wrong with you?" she yelled. "Do your job. They're violating HOA rules. Arrest her." But the officer straightened, almost like he was snapping to attention. "Ma'am," he said firmly, "you need to calm down." Karen let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Calm down? I'm the HOA president. That means I'm in charge here. This is my community." She jabbed her finger inches from my wife's chest. My wife didn't flinch. "This land is ours," she said coolly. "You don't get to invent rules because you feel like it." Karen stomped her foot, voice rising. "Officer, do I need to call your supervisor? You're wasting my time." The officer hesitated, then glanced at me. Sweat beaded at his temple. He lowered his voice. "Sir, would you like me to handle this? Or should I call the others?" Karen's mouth dropped open. "The others? What others? This is insane." She whipped out her phone again, dialing furiously. "If you won't do your job, I'll get more officers here myself." The officer shot me a look that said everything. Karen was digging her own grave. She paced in tight circles, barking into her phone. "Yes, dispatch. Send more units. These people are dangerous. They're threatening me." Her voice cracked as she added fake sobs for effect. My wife and I stood quietly, watching the performance like a bad reality show. Sirens echoed down the road. 2 more squad cars pulled up near the lake house, tires crunching loudly. Karen straightened, smirk returning. "Now, you'll see what happens when you mess with me." But the moment the new officers stepped out, everything changed. The first officer snapped to attention and saluted. The others followed immediately. Karen froze. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "I told you to arrest them." One officer cut her off sharply. "You need to stop talking right now," Karen gasped. "Excuse me, I'm the HOA president. You don't talk to me like that." The lead officer ignored her completely and looked straight at me. "Commander, awaiting your orders." Karen spun toward me, face pale. "Commander? What? What is going on?" My wife tilted her head, a faint smile forming. "You really picked the wrong family, Karen." Karen staggered back, clutching her phone. "This has to be a mistake. He's pretending. He doesn't look like any commander." The lead officer didn't hesitate. "Ma'am, you've already made multiple false reports today. That's a crime." He gestured to her clipboard. "And that fake HOA notice? That's harassment." Karen panicked. "Fake? No, I'm protecting the community. I have every right." My wife calmly unfolded a document she'd been holding the entire time. "This is the deed," she said, handing it over. "No HOA jurisdiction, ever." The officer reviewed it and nodded. "Confirmed. This property isn't part of the HOA." Karen's voice shot higher. "That's impossible. I run this neighborhood." I stepped forward, voice low and sharp. "You run nothing. And the louder you get, the worse this becomes. For the first time, Karen looked scared. Instead of backing down, she screamed, "You can't do this to me. I'll shut this whole place down." An officer stepped closer, hand near his cuffs. "Ma'am, I suggest you stop talking." Karen jerked her arm away. "Don't touch me. I'll sue all of you. I'll have your badges by tomorrow." Her voice cracked, panic bleeding through. One officer said calmly, "Resisting now will only make this worse." Karen spun toward the neighbors gathered along their yards, phones raised. "You're all witnesses. This is abuse of power. This is a setup." But no one stepped forward. They just watched. A few people even let out quiet laughs. My wife finally spoke, her voice sharp and clear. "You came onto our property with a fake notice, made false police reports, and tried to humiliate us in front of our neighbors. Now, everyone can see exactly who you are." Karen stamped her foot, hands shaking with fury. "No one's going to believe you." That's when one of the officers lifted a small body cam clipped to his chest. "It's already documented, ma'am. Every word, every threat, every lie." Karen's eyes went wide. For just a heartbeat, she looked like a child caught stealing, exposed and helpless. Then she lunged for one last grasp at power, spinning toward the lead officer. "You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president." The officer's stare was cold. "Not anymore." He snapped the cuffs around her wrists. The crowd gasped, then some actually cheered as Karen shrieked, "This isn't over. You'll regret this." But no one looked convinced. Karen thrashed in the cuffs, her screams echoing across the lake. "You're all making the biggest mistake of your lives. I control this neighborhood," she yelled, but each outburst sounded weaker than the last. The officers guided her toward the squad car while the others stayed alert. My wife and I stood shoulder to shoulder, watching as the woman who had stormed our doorstep minutes earlier was now being dragged away in front of everyone. A neighbor shouted, "About time someone stopped her," and murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Phones were still raised. I knew by morning this footage would be everywhere. Karen's reign was over, and her downfall was painfully public. As they tried to place her in the back seat, Karen made one last desperate attempt to break free. "You can't do this. The whole board will back me up. They'll throw you off this land," she cried, her voice cracking. The officer shut the car door and shook his head. "The board won't save you. Not with the charges." Your face stepped closer, calm but firm. "Karen, you should have thought twice before playing with people's lives. Especially mine." The officer who arrived first turned to me. "Sir, we'll file the reports and keep you updated. She'll be charged with harassment, falsifying documents, and filing false police reports." He paused, lowering his voice. "Honestly, she may face more once the DA reviews everything." Karen slammed her hands against the window, her muffled screams filling the air, but no one paid her any attention now. My wife exhaled deeply, brushing her hand against mine. "It's finally over," she whispered. "But somehow, I know this isn't the end." The police cars pulled away, flashing lights fading down the road, though the echo of Karen's shrill voice lingered. Neighbors slowly drifted back to their homes, some shaking their heads, others smiling with relief. For the first time in months, the street felt quiet, peaceful. My wife leaned into me. "I can't believe it. She's really gone." I nodded slightly. She thought she was untouchable. The truth always catches up. As we turned toward the house, a younger officer approached, unease in his expression. He lowered his voice. "Sir, I should warn you. Karen wasn't acting alone. We've received complaints that she coordinated with other board members, fake fines, intimidation, even illegal liens." My wife's eyes widened. "So this wasn't just about us?" He shook his head. "No, ma'am. She was running a racket. An investigation is open. More arrests may be coming." I tightened my jaw, realizing her arrest was only the first domino. "Keep me informed," I said. He nodded and returned to his car. My wife slipped her hand into mine. "If she had allies," she whispered, "they won't stop here." I stared across the lake, moonlight shimmering on the water, feeling the weight settle in my chest. Karen had been loud, reckless, and easy to expose. Whoever stood behind her would be quieter, smarter, more dangerous. And something deep in my gut told me they weren't finished yet. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Every creak of the house, every shadow near the porch light kept us alert. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the spread of papers, the deed, the HOA notices, the officer's notes. Karen was gone, but her network lingered. Around midnight, a car slowed in front of our home. Headlights swept across the windows, idled for a moment, then drove off. My wife peeked through the blinds, voice tight. "They're watching us." I rested a hand on her shoulder. "Let them. We're ready now." By morning, the story had exploded. Videos of Karen's arrest flooded social media, neighborhood pages, local forums, then the news picked it up. Comments poured in. Finally, someone stood up to her. She thought she owned us, but with the tension came pressure. The HOA board announced an emergency meeting. Some members scrambled to distance themselves, claiming ignorance. The documents told a different story: signatures, forged notices, hidden transfers. Police moved fast. By week's end, 2 more board members were arrested. When it was finally done, the officer who had saluted me that first day returned and shook my hand. "Sir, thanks for letting us do our job." People like her rely on fear. Nodded. "I didn't fight for this country just to be told I can't live free on my own land." My wife smiled softly, slipping her hand into mine. For the first time in a long while, the air felt clear. Justice hadn't just been served for us, but for everyone who'd been bullied into silence. And as the sun set over the lake, one truth settled in my bones: no one would ever try to take our home again.